about who I think will be the new lineup, or who I want the new lineup to be of Avengers, or just characters in general after Avengers Secret Wars. Um, so we know that probably the Fantastic Four will probably survive Secret Wars and Doomsday, most likely, because they've only had, well, they haven't even had their one movie yet, but they'll only have one movie by the time those are done. Now, as far as some of the older characters like Hulk and Thor, maybe even Doctor Strange, some of those characters that have been around for a while, I doubt they will be part of sort of the new MCU after Secret Wars. Um, and the Thunderbolts, the spoiler warning if you haven't seen the Thunderbolts, the new Avengers, um, I don't know what to think about them because, like, Bucky has been around for quite a while, so I think he might be sort of on his way out of the MCU. As far as Yelena and Red Guardian, they might stick around. I'm not sure because they really haven't been in the MCU that much. They were only in Black Widow and well, Yelena did show up in Hawkeye the first season. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I don't really know about them. I feel like most of them will probably get taken out, like Ghost and John Walker. A lot of those characters I feel like probably won't be part of the MCU, or at least not a big after Secret Wars. Sam Wilson's Captain America is a tough one because he just now became Captain America, but yet him he's been in the MCU for a while now. First as Falcon, and then now as Captain America. So I feel like he's probably ready to get out here shortly. So I feel like maybe Secret Wars or Doomsday will sort of be his last stand, and then we'll have a new Captain America um, moving forward. And I know they're wanting to focus more so on the X Men and Fantastic Four after Secret Wars. Well, even now in Doomsday in Secret Wars, but after that, I feel like it's going to be the Mutant Saga and all that. But I would like to see if they're going to do like a soft reboot type deal after Secret Wars. I would like to see a new Iron Man, new Captain America, new Black Panther, like new Avengers, but like the original Avengers, so that we can have them interact with the Fantastic Four and with the X Men. I want in the Mutant Saga. Yes, I want the X Men and mutants and all that, but it would be really cool to have where it's focused mainly on the X Men, but maybe we have a team up of like Iron Man and Captain America with Wolverine and Cyclops, or something cool like that that we can't necessarily do if they kill off all the original characters and keep them killed off. So yeah, because we have the issue of like before we had the Avengers and all these characters, and Spider-Man, and we didn't have the X-Men or the Fantastic Four. So we could only sort of slightly cross over within the Avengers, but now that we have the Fantastic Four and X-Men, it's sort of the reverse. So we have the X-Men and Fantastic Four, but we don't have any Avengers or anything like that really. Uh, we do have some, like if Thor sticks around or Hulk. Um, and Spider-Man, supposedly there was a rumor that after there's supposed to be like a new trilogy for Tom Holland Spider-Man, starting with A New Day. Um, but I mean, I don't know. I would imagine that there would be a trilogy. Um, he's still young enough; he can do it, but just how long he actually wants to do it, I think, is the question. And I really like for that trip for that trilogy to introduce Miles into the MCU. You know, maybe have a New Day be just Spider-Man, just Tom Holland Spider-Man, and then maybe even have sort of like the games did, the PS5, PS4 game, to where it's like you introduce Miles as just like Miles, where he's not Spider-Man yet, in the first one, and then the second one he gets his powers, and then the third one you have Peter and Miles with both their powers, and then maybe after that something happens to Tom Holland Spider-Man where he wants to retire from being Spider-Man, or I don't. Maybe he gets killed off. I really don't want him to kill him off. You can't kill Spider-Man. But and then after that, maybe we have like a trilogy for Miles or something like that, and he's the new Spider-Man for the MCU. Would be pretty cool. And then we could have Spider-Man with the X-Men, with the Fantastic Four, and if we have like a new Iron Man and new Captain America, or even if Sam Wilson's Captain America stays, that would be pretty cool, as long as we have a Captain America in the MCU. But it would be really cool. I really want to see all those team ups. I'm sure we'll get a lot of those in Doomsday and Secret Wars with the X-Men, Fantastic Four, Avengers, and all that will be really, really cool. But I would like to have some of those characters still be around for the Mutant Saga, even if it's just a few of them, so that we can still have those interactions where it's not just the X-Men and Fantastic Four, where we still have Spider-Man, still have Captain America, have still at least some of the Avengers to tie in through some of the X-Men or mutant movies, and the Fantastic Four would be really cool, because that's the whole point of the MCU, is that it is interconnected, and so that we can see sort of these mashups of characters. Have Spider-Man with the Fantastic Four. Even if it's not like a full movie necessarily. Like, let's say we have the second Fantastic Four movie. Maybe they just see at the very beginning Spider-Man, they're fighting some small level villain in New York, and Spider-Man swings in and helps them with that fight, and then we don't see him for the rest of the movie. You know what I mean? And then the rest of the movie takes just precedent with the Fantastic Four. Something like that would be really cool. Or even, I'm not sure how long Daredevil, Charlie Cox's Daredevil, is going to be around, because he has been playing the character for a while. He played him on Netflix, and now he's playing him again in Born Again. I know he really likes that character, and we have Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin. I think those characters could be pretty cool to tie in with like Spider-Man, and they already tied Kingpin in with Hawkeye a little bit, but sort of have those tied in a little bit. It would be really cool if they had a Spider-Man cameo in Daredevil Born Again, sort of like they had Matt Murdock cameo in No Way Home, just a small little bit. Maybe you just see Spider-Man swing through, maybe Daredevil's fighting these guys that are breaking in somewhere. I don't know, something like that, and then Spider-Man swinging by and sees him in trouble, drops down, helps him beat him up, and you just see like a, hey, how's it going, man? Something like that, or something small like in Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, where it's like you see a little bit of a cameo, but they don't derail the series or the movie, whichever it may be. So it's just a little taste of them to remind us that they are a shared universe. And but I feel like that's one of the biggest things for the MCU right now, is getting so many characters and so many storylines going that they're they're not tying them together, or they're not even worrying about it too much. Just like in Thunderbolts, it takes place in New York, and you have the Void sort of taking over New York, but we never see Spider-Man, we never see Daredevil or the Defenders or anybody. And one of the things too is so much of the MCU takes place in New York, and when we don't see those characters cross over, it makes it hard to comprehend that it's a shared universe when we have things take place in New York and we don't even see one other hero or anything like that. So that's one of the things that's a little bit frustrating. I mean, it doesn't even have to be like something major. Like you could have the Void, like the Void's taking over New York, and you see Spider-Man swinging away from the Void or something. Which I understand sometimes that can distract, and you detour, like, hey, what's Spider-Man doing? And then you're focused on, like, hey, I want to go see what Spider-Man's doing, instead of focusing on the Thunderbolts and what they're doing. So I understand that. Hopefully, they address that in Spider-Man: A Brand New Day. Would be cool. Like, hey, that thing, the Void, where everything went dark, was crazy. Even if they just barely lightly touch on it, I feel like they just need to at least address it. And then maybe in Daredevil Born Again Season 2, they do something similar. Like, hey, yeah, my friend went in the Void and had some, visions or something, or whatever. Just to address that it is interconnected, and something that major is something that people would be talking about. So if nobody even mentions it, I feel like would be disappointing. But yeah. So for the future characters and the lineup of heroes after Secret Wars, so hopefully, I don't know exactly what they're gonna do, because I think after Secret Wars is supposed to be like a soft reboot, and it closes off the multiverse, and we're basically stuck with whatever universe we end up with after that. So like no more variants or anything like that. So I don't know. Yeah, I just want at least, we know we're going to have the Fantastic Four for a while, and we're going to have the new X-Men. I don't know if we're going to have any of the old X-Men that stay around, really. I think they're going to try and pretty much clear off most of the characters from like the old X-Men, whether they get their universe wiped out or they just go back to their universe and we don't see them again, or something's like that. But I think they're wanting to basically clear the slate of all the old characters, all the older actors, so that they can get new, younger actors and build this mutant saga and this new phase with young characters and young actors, so that they can play these characters for 10 plus years, and we're not constantly going back and forth of either losing actors as far as like they don't want to do it anymore, or anything like that, so that we can have these characters around for a while, and and just have these characters for a while. So, and I'm okay with that, but also I would like them to at least keep around some of the older characters, or I don't know how they're going to do that with, like, because if they want to get rid of, like, Robert Downey Jr. is not going to come back to play Iron Man. Well, okay. He's probably going to come back to play Iron Man in Doomsday or Secret Wars, as well as Doctor Doom. But I feel like after that, he's not gonna want to come back as Iron Man again and play him for another 10 years. Plus, they already sort of wrapped up that story. So, in order for us to get a new Iron Man, they will have to either, I don't know how they're going to do that, have a variant from another universe come in and be our Iron Man, or just not even have an Iron Man, just focus on the X-Men and Fantastic Four, or we have replacements like Ironheart that's coming up. Maybe she'll take that place as like the new Iron Man type character. And we also have Spider-Man, which is supposed to be sort of a replacement for Iron Man. I don't know, like Rhodey. Rhodey's been in the MCU for a long time, so I feel like he's probably going to be done after Secret Wars. Um, so yeah, I feel like they're most of the characters that have been around for a while. They're going to use this as an out to be done with it and get a send off for those characters. Nick Fury, I feel like will be another one. Samuel L. Jackson's getting up there in age, and he's been doing it for a long time. He's pretty much one of the longest running characters in the MCU that we still have left, um, because he made a cameo in the post credits of the first Iron Man. Even though he didn't have like a big role in a lot of movies, he's still been doing it for a long time. And especially after Secret Invasion and everything, I think he's just ready to get out. And I don't think there's much of a use for his character much anymore, after Secret Wars and everything. And once again, I think they're going to use this Doomsday and Secret Wars to really just wipe the slate clean, basically. Anybody that's not like brand new to the MCU is pretty much going to be taken out. So, like Fantastic Four, I think is pretty safe. Um, we'll get a reboot of the X-Men, but all the older X-Men are going to be wiped out, taken out. We're not going to see them anymore. Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield Spider-Man probably won't even be in Doomsday. Maybe in Secret Wars, but I highly doubt we'll probably see them in Secret Wars, but we won't see them again after that. They'll be done after that, I think. Um, Hopefully they don't kill them off. Hopefully they just sort of like, hey, they went back to the universes, the multiverse bridge type deal's closed now or something. But I really hope that they keep around at least some of the main Avengers or get new versions of them, because I'd really like to see Iron Man and Captain America and Hulk, Thor, all of those interact with the Fantastic Four and X-Men. Or even if they, I don't know. It's sort of a hard thing, because if they do introduce new Iron Man or Captain America or whatever, then they feel obligated, like they sort of did in this multiverse saga, to give each character like a movie. So I don't know. That would be sort of something hard to juggle, because it's like if we have a new Iron Man in the MCU and a new Hulk or whatever it may be, then they feel obligated to make movies for all those characters. And if we're moving into the Mutant Saga and the X-Men reboot, then each one of them maybe have their own movies or a few team-up movies, and then we become, again, how we are in the Multiverse Saga, where we're flooded with this content that's mediocre. So I feel like if they do introduce like a new Iron Man or a new Captain America, Hulk, whatever it may be, or if they do just sort of continue on with the legacy characters, like Scar, maybe instead of just getting a new Hulk, we just have, or like a new Bruce Banner Hulk, we just have Scar as like, and She-Hulk as like our substitute for him, I guess. Because a lot of those, or even like what would be cool is instead of having a new Iron Man, we just have Iron Man's daughter, Morgan. She becomes like the next Iron Man character, which we do already have Ironheart, which is supposed to be sort of a similar thing, where she's basically like the new Iron Man character. Um, but I don't know. I feel like what we're doing is we're starting to get to the second tier or third tier characters that we don't really care about as much. So it's diluting the movies and shows. Now, granted, with great writing and a great director, we can care about these second tier characters, but it's rare that that happens, and it's very hard for for that to happen. Um, but like with Thunderbolts, it's possible, and with Guardians, it's possible, but it's rare because over years and years and years of comics, there's been proven characters that are like A-listers or top tier characters like Spider-Man, Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, Thor. All of these characters that are top tier characters that have been proven over and over that have love from the fans. Um, as to some of the second tier characters like She-Hulk, Scar, um, Ironheart, a lot of these other characters that aren't as beloved and um, don't have as much fan love for a lot of these characters. And plus, with the fact that a lot of them haven't got great writing or great directors to really up their um, their storytelling or up the character or to make us care about these characters more. Um, so it's like you have a Spider-Man movie, you have an Iron Man movie, even if it's not the greatest director or the greatest writers, um, it'll still do pretty good. And the general theme and the general personalities of these characters and general stories that these characters usually um, have are enough to sort of carry the movie, even if it's not the greatest director. But and then if we have sort of these second tier characters that already don't have the greatest stories or the greatest characters or attributes or whatever it is that we care about or don't care about, and it's a lower second, third tier character, we need exceptional directors and writing to really elevate that character to where we even really care about those characters. Like the Thunderbolts or Guardians. Those movies are great examples of characters that are sort of second tier characters or characters that we don't care about as much or we didn't as much until those movies really gave them the treatment that they needed and really made us care about those characters. So now, if every project received that quality of character development and made us care about their characters and the story, then yeah, we can use some of these second tier characters. But a lot of these, it takes exceptional writing and exceptional storytelling and everything to do that. Um, but it's difficult and it's rare. So that's why we need those A-list characters like Iron Man, Captain America, and now we're getting more of them in the X-Men. Like Wolverine, Cyclops. Um, the X-Men has a lot of those characters, and then the Fantastic Four. But it's a thing of once those characters are gone as well, or we've went through all those characters, we need a way to bring back a new Iron Man, a new Captain America, a new whatever it may be. And I would like for them to be able to exist at the same time as the X-Men and Fantastic Four, so that we get all the whole world building and characters interacting with all of those characters, not just certain segments at a time. But I also understand that's a difficult thing to do because it's hard juggling that many characters like we've seen already in the multiverse saga, and so no, I have mixed feelings. I almost want them to keep there to be a way to enter and exit the multiverse if needed, type of deal. Like maybe Reed has at the end of Secret Wars, he finally finds a safe way to explore the multiverse or something, but maybe make like an exception of like we can never use this unless it's an absolute emergency because it's messes with the fabrics of time and space or something. You know what I mean? Like where they can still do it in the future if they absolutely have to, so that we can have some cool team up movies, or something, without it having to be like a constant thing. Like we can have an Iron Man or something from another universe that pops in for like one movie or something if needed. I don't know how that would work, if that would be a good idea or not. But I do understand the thing of like the multiverse is sort of like an endless thing where like, oh, Miss, whatever, Iron Man died. All right, let's go to a multiverse, get another Iron Man, and it's just like an endless cycle. So it can get sort of messy. But then again, it's like maybe like, hey, our friends in the 616 universe, let's go over there for a bit and visit them or something, It would be sort of a fun thing to where we could have cameos and team ups without having to necessarily have them intertwined as much. Like we can be like, hey, we're going over this universe with Iron Man, and the Fantastic Four aren't in it, but they can pop in if it's a super emergency type of deal, so that we can have sort of like their own separate movies without having to worry about tying them in, but have those team up movies like the Avengers do, but have them a bigger scale, like the Fantastic Four, sort of like we're leading up to with Doomsday, but have maybe smaller versions of that where it's just the Fantastic Four and Spider-Man, or just the Fantastic Four in Iron Man, or maybe it's just Mr. Fantastic helps Iron Man with something that they're needing to figure out, like science project or something. You know what I mean? Like just have sort of like Ragnarok, Thor Ragnarok. I really like that because it's a team up with Thor and Hulk, and we didn't have to worry about, hey, where's Iron Man, where's this, where's that. It's like it's just those two characters. It's not a major team up movie, but it's still fun. You know what I mean? And Civil War was like a mini Avengers, and it wasn't really. I mean, it was a team up. I was gonna say a team up between Iron Man and Cap, but it's more of like they're fighting each other. It's more of a team up of their teams versus each other. But I like even the small team up movies. I feel like with Marvel, it's like they, for the most part anyway, they think it's like either it has to be a complete solo movie or it's a big Avengers where everybody's in it. But I like the smaller team up movies as well, like I was saying with Ragnarok, where it's just like little, even it's just like two characters teaming up. Like I said with earlier in the video, with have Spider-Man and Daredevil team up. It doesn't have to be a major team up, just two characters teaming up. It doesn't have to be like a major threat either, like Galactus or Thanos or Doom. It can just be like a smaller level threat. Have Iron Man and Reed Richards team up, and maybe even Bruce Banner for like a little science project or something for something. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to be that large of a scale necessarily. Or I'm trying to think of like some more smaller team ups that they could do that wouldn't be like major, that would still be fun. Like uh, Hulk and the Thing or something would be pretty cool. Them two going up against like a big creature or something. Need some extra manpower or need some extra muscle to defeat. See, just like little things like that. Like it doesn't have to be the whole Fantastic Four necessarily, um, or like the whole Avengers. It's just like you have smaller level things that can be team ups or something. Um, Even if it's not like a whole movie, even like I was saying earlier, like just have like the Fantastic Four fighting somebody in New York, and you have Hulk jump in because he's walking down the street and he's going to a coffee shop and he sees, oh hey, look, there's the Fantastic Four. They might need some help, and he hulks out and helps them out, and then they Hulk goes back to his normal everyday stuff, and the Fantastic Four go back and fight whatever threat they're fighting or something, and we follow the Fantastic Four. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be a major thing, just a small cameo that makes sense. In small team up movies, granted, I like the major team up movies like Infinity War and Endgame were amazing. Like, especially the end battle with Endgame, where you've seen all those characters and everything was super awesome. But I I like that every once in a while. Like Doomsday and Secret Wars is going to be really cool, in the fact that we get to see the old X Men, the Avengers, um, who else? Fantastic Four, all those characters together is such an awesome thing. But also, it it makes it very cluttered to where we don't get a whole lot of time with each character. So that's why I like also the smaller team up movies where we just get to see, like I said, maybe like Hulk and the Thing or something. We get to see those two characters interact, and we can actually have arcs for those characters in those movies, and they can, like Hulk and the Thing, they can talk about being monsters and how the public perceives them and everything like that. We can have a story like that throughout the movie and dive deep into those characters because we only have those characters to really focus on. As to the big ones, it's more of like we see little bits and moments, but there's a lot of characters that get left out that are just sort of there. Um, which once again I don't mind for the big Avengers movies and the big team up moments. I like those, but I also want the smaller team up movies so that we can see these characters interact together, and um, I like the MCU because we can see sort of like I liked Infinity War, how we had like Tony Stark and Stephen Strange, how they interacted together because they're both sort of like arrogant and cocky and stuff. So seeing them two interact with each other was sort of fun, seeing how they collide. But also I liked seeing combinations that you normally wouldn't think about, like at the beginning of Endgame and stuff, where you see Nebula and Tony Stark interacting and playing the football with the folded tinfoil thing was really fun. You know what I mean? Like those interactions are awesome, and but I like those moments, but expanded out into a movie. So like if we had a whole movie of like Iron Man and Nebula trying to survive on the spaceship, and they get attacked by all these other things, which I don't know how interesting that would be, but something similar to that. Or even if it's like 3 or 4 characters, like a smaller team up movie, sort of like um, the Thunderbolts or Guardians or the original Avengers, where it's just like 5 or 6 characters, or it's a small group, but it can be a mix from different groups. Like um, maybe we have Johnny Storm, Human Torch from the Fantastic Four is helping out, Spider Man and Thor. I don't know. You know what I mean? Just having a mix of characters would be really fun. But yeah, I'm sort of excited for post in or not in game post Secret Wars, but then again I'm a little nervous because of how after Endgame it sort of felt like an ending, and I sort of lost interest in the MCU for a long time. Like I feel like now I'm sort of just getting a little more interested in the MCU, but I just don't want that same sort of dip after Secret Wars, especially with they're probably going to be wanting to wipe the slate clean with all these characters and sort of start a new rebooted X-Men. I don't know what they're going to do with all the characters. They'll probably keep around some, like I was saying, like Fantastic Four will probably stay around, Spider-Man will probably stay around, and a few of those main characters, but we won't have, I'd say probably 90% of the characters that are in the MCU right now will be gone, and we'll have a new set of X-Men and the Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, maybe a few others sprinkled in there, but most of them will probably be gone. Um, so I'm sort of excited and nervous to see how they deal with that because, um, I mean, I'm excited for the X-Men and the X-Men reboot, but I don't know. It's one of those things where it's sort of a lose-lose situation. You either have new, like, Iron Man and new Captain America, new Hulk, and all that, and it makes it sort of crowded in the MCU again, or even more so because we're going to have new X-Men characters introduced, and now we have the Fantastic Four. But then again, if we don't have those characters, we miss out on those interactions between those characters. And then if we just rely on like Scar to replace Hulk and all these things, then we have diluted versions of the original characters that we care about. So in my opinion, either we get new characters like or new versions of Iron Man, new versions of Steve Rogers, new versions of Hulk, new versions of Thor, if those actors don't want to continue to play those characters, or they don't get killed off. But I really don't want to explore Scar, She-Hulk that much, really. She-Hulk can be sort of in the background as like a cameo where she's just handling certain cases or something like that. But I feel like a lot of these characters, they're trying to replace Iron Man, and well, the only exception I would say is Sam Wilson's Captain America replacing Steve Rogers. I'm perfectly okay with, because we've had enough time to explore Sam Wilson's character, and his character fits that role, so I'm happy with that. But all the other characters, I really don't. Like Ironheart, I didn't care for too much in Wakanda Forever. We'll see how the series goes. And then with Spider-Man replacing Iron Man, he's not really a direct replacement. He's sort of his own thing, even though he's mentored by Iron Man. It's different, you know. He's his own character, and I do really like Spider-Man. Jeez Louise, and he's a really good character, but I just feel like he's not really a leader yet in the MCU, and so we need a leader position for Iron Man. Iron Man and Captain America were the leaders of the Avengers and pretty much the whole MCU. So we have a replacement for Steve Rogers in Sam Wilson, but we don't really have a replacement for Tony Stark. And Riri Williams is not that replacement, and she probably won't be for a while because she's just getting started. Spider-Man's sort of off doing his own thing. He's sort of in the same position, not really fit to be a leader yet. And by the time he is fit to be a leader, he'll be like 5-6 movies in and probably ready to check out on that role. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a difficult thing. So, yeah, just let me know what you guys would like to see for the future lineup of Marvel heroes after Secret Wars, what you think they should do with replacing Iron Man, Thor, and all these characters, or if we should just sort of focus more so on the X-Men and not worry about Iron Man and all them. So just let me know what you guys think of that and all of that. Are you guys excited for Doomsday and Secret Wars? And are you even interested in the MCU or what? So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and have